All right, folks, here we are, game week 217. We're well into November now, and we're hitting an international break. So not a lot of matches to go, but let's take a step back, look at last week, kind of inch our way along. So, last week, especially in the rare cards, not a ton to take from here. Actually, some pretty big scores given it was a Champions League midweek. I suppose Special Weekly was fairly attainable. And what's interesting here for me is the limited scores were very attainable, which is great. So, I hope that the So Rare folks are kind of increasing the payout structure so that you can win a card if you're going to get in the sort of high 200s. That's, I think, a nice place to be in terms of how many people they're onboarding and promoting the platform too. So good to see. In terms of this past weekend, obviously we don't know the final scores yet. We probably do. I don't think there's any Monday games because we kind of hit this international break. So I probably could have punched that out, but I haven't. But I will look at the players that I recommended. So you'll notice I've been doing this for a couple weeks now. Two huge wins, big pat on the back over here. Pedro and Pepe, the two veterans, but both were kind of reasonably priced, somewhere around the 0.100 Ethereum for the rare and kind of under 0.02, which is, what you could obviously win as a bonus in a game week but in the limited, I guess. So anyways, point is they got in the 90s. I mean, massive scores. So, I still think they're pretty hot buys to stick with them. I think people discount them maybe because they're older and may not have a lot of years left in them. Everyone likes to go after rookies and things like that. But yeah, there's just so much value in when they play. So less so with these guys. It's tough because I'm looking for sort of bargain bins. So I expect that I'm not always going to hit. And, with these cards, once you factor in their bonus, maybe you got up over 50 or so, but probably not what you were hoping for, but didn't completely kill you either. So I'll call those pushes. And I think kind of hang on. If you bought any of those, hang on to them and see how the next few weeks go. So yeah. Pleased with that, relatively speaking. We'll get on to this coming weeks in a second here. If we jump back to the percentages, what we see, actually, let's show you also quickly just which matches are here. So basically we have a lot of Brazilian League matches, and then we have some South America, some Europe, and some Asia. And then that's kind of it. So a lot of national clubs, and then, of course, the Brazilian League. So naturally, America's is, let me slide over. America's has the highest payout. So 7% is okay, not bad for, I guess, a midweek. These ones aren't great at all. If you're going to play in Global All-Star, you're pretty much just going for the Ethereum bonus, I'd say. Even U23 looks, look at these, just paltry. Finishing top 14, you can imagine the big rosters, the whales, they're going to just kind of eat these ones up. So down here, it's not too much different. I guess 400 cards paid out in limited All-Stars is decent. So maybe throw something in there. But again, also, if you can make up a roster for America, that's not bad, 9%. So it's kind of comparable to other weeks. So see 11, 13, and so on. So for limited games, I think they are putting a number of cards out, which is nice. So let's actually look at some cards that I'm putting forward. So one of the things I really want to look at was players that maybe don't do so well on their domestic side. Maybe they don't get playing time, they're off the bench, things like that, and thus they're pretty cheap. But when they play for their national team, they start and they get good scores. So I found a few that I think are just absolute steals for this midweek, and then they may play again on the weekend and so on. So Aiden Hrustich? Let's try that. An Aussie, believe it or not. So as you can see, looking at these numbers, why would you want him? Hardly plays, even coming off an injury. To what I've looked at, some of the research I've done, it looks like he's back from injury, and there's a very good chance he should play for Australia. But like I said, domestically, not anyone to get excited about. As you can see by the prices here, the best offer right now, that's a bit high. It's a bit rich. You might be able to make a deal and get him more in what is 7-day and 1 month averages. And then in the limited, this is nice and cheap, $20. So, and if we look at this, really even kind of trending maybe slightly down to flat. So that's nice to see. There's only 8 rare cards, so it's hard to actually look at. I won't bother looking at the graph with that. But if we go to SO5 scores, here's my point. So Again, some DNPs for Eintracht, all this. But then when we get to Australia, look at that, 71, 64. Let's keep going. 78, 62. So 4 straight games for Australia and over 60. Again, so 48, a bit lower. 71, you take it though. Those are nice. 33, so didn't do so well there, but then 71 again. So, really, we're talking about one bad game, one average game, and then the rest in the 60s and 70s. Go out and get this guy. I'm telling you, I'll beat you to it as soon as I end this video. I'm doing it. And plug him in. Josh Cullen's the next one. He's a little pricier, as you can see, 0.024. So, $100 or so on the limited side, and 1.4 seems to be a pretty average. He also plays. He's a starter for Anderlecht, and he gets some nice scores. So what's kind of nice about him is if you invest in him, you can also just play him in regular game weeks as you go. He's probably a nice piece for your roster to begin with. But again, let's look down at Ireland here. So he got a 71. Sorry if I miss any here. And a 36, not so good, but an 82 is nice. 43, yeah. And thought I saw another one. Okay, 37, 33. So, he's capable of some bigger games and then maybe some pretty average ones and things like that. So don't love him as much as getting Hrustich, but it could be a nice one, the fact that you can continue to play him throughout the season. Lucas Zelarayan is an MLS player, so you have to be careful. Columbus didn't make the playoffs, so their season's over. So if you're buying him, you pretty much can only use them from a national team point of view. Otherwise, you're kind of holding them until next MLS season, unless he gets transferred in the December transfer window. So, January transfer window. What's interesting about him is he's actually declared for Armenia, and he's yet to play for them. So it's believed that potentially this midweek or even on the weekend will be his first match for them. He's a great score. Look at some of these numbers he put up in MLS. So he's also kind of a nice guy to hold on for the future. He's sort of right in his prime and all of that. So he doesn't have a ton of, oh no, he did. I must have read something a bit later, a bit dated. So he has played a little bit for Armenia, but he put up a 60 there and a 29. Maybe he just recently declared for them. That must be it. That's what it is. So nice midfielder. Armenia have some decent players and things like that, but I think he'll probably slot right in, be a big contributor. And again, his price is pretty reasonable considering the talent level there. And then these two, Lee Yong and Kim Young Guan, are interesting ones. I put them sort of together in a way because they play for South Korea, and South Korea hasn't been listed yet, and sometimes Opta won't include certain countries' matches based on the amount of data it can get from those matches. So if it gets added, it might be a late addition, and sometimes that happens. So you're taking a bit of a gamble. And but having said that, given that Sorare covers the K-League, might be worth a chance. And again, the prices, this guy's absolute dirt cheap, 34-year-old. The K-League's coming to an end as well. But what I like here is if we go to his national team matches, so 64, 55 here, a 78, then a 30. Sorry if I missed one or two. And then a 30, a DNP sort of further down back in June. So some nice scores of late. And again, like really, really cheap to grab. So I like that one. And then Kim Young Guan, 31-year-old. So a little younger. And again, also some nice league scores if you're going to kind of hang on to them. And as cheap can be, $6, $100 for these two. And again, let's go and have a look. Had some DMPs recently, so you can probably get them for absolutely nothing. But a 52 for Korea, 48. Let's keep going. A 72, 59. He had a really good run of form here for club and country. Anyways, you can go on and on. But those are my guys. Those are the guys I think are just absolute steals. Throw a few bucks their way. Put a lineup in, because there's not going to be a lot of lineups that maybe have all 5 players playing. That's what I got for this midweek. Best of luck to you. We'll talk again for this upcoming weekend, which there should be a ton of national teams. So that should be pretty interesting. Okay, take care. Talk soon. Bye.